All right, let's get into it. Have you ever stopped to think what science actually sounds like? I'm not talking about the usual beeps and whirs from a lab. I mean, what's the rhythm of biology, the beat of a chemical reaction? What does a weather system sound like when the bass drops? Well, today we're going to explore a wild new genre that does exactly that.
And that right there, that's the whole mission statement. It's all about taking these super complex, sometimes kind of intimidating scientific ideas and turning them into something you can actually feel, something that, gets stuck in your head. This is LabCore.
So what does it sound like in action? Well, instead of some dry textbook chapter on digestion, LabCore gives you a beat that literally says, gas happens, don't run away, your body's just working. It makes biology feel a little more, well, natural, and maybe even a little funny.
Or how about the human heart? All those complex electrical signals that are keeping you alive right this second. LabCore takes that incredible system and turns it into this huge electronic anthem. Yeah, it's basically your body's own built-in bass drop.
And it's not just about what's inside us. Earth science gets the exact same treatment. The whole water cycle, we're talking condensation, gravity, the works. It gets transformed into a track where you can almost feel the atmospheric pressure building up before it finally lets go.
Okay, so let's put an official definition on this. LabCore is an educational music genre, right? It mixes real, hard science with electronic dance music, or EDM. Now, the goal here isn't to replace your textbook, it's to make it better. It's about turning those tough-to-remember facts into hooks you can't forget, and making complex processes into musical drops that just click.
You know, something like this doesn't just pop up out of nowhere. LabCore really sits at the crossroads of three huge trends. First, we've got what we know about the brain. Research proves that rhythm and music seriously boost your memory. Second, there's our digital culture, which is just completely driven by beats and quick, catchy content. And finally, let's be real, there's a huge demand for educational stuff that isn't, boring. So that brings us to the big question. Why is this so darned effective? Why does turning a science lesson into a song actually work so well? Let's dive into the cognitive science behind it all.
Seriously, just think about it for a second. You can probably sing along to, dozens, maybe hundreds of songs without even trying, right? But trying to memorize a scientific formula for a test, that feels like actual work. Well, there's a real scientific reason for that difference, and it's the secret engine that makes LabCore run.
So here's the breakdown of that song lyric effect. When you listen to music, it's not just one little part of your brain that lights up. No way. It activates a whole network of systems all at once. Your hearing, your emotions, even your motor skills. And that creates these super strong memory pathways. The repetition you get in a chorus, that just drills the ideas in without you even noticing. But the real secret sauce is the emotional connection. It creates a positive feeling, and that makes you actually want to learn. Okay, all that theory is great, but let's see how it actually works in the real world. Let's pop the hood on a LabCore track and see exactly how a dense scientific fact gets turned into a super catchy hook. For our case study, we're going to look at that precipitation track we heard a little bit of earlier. This song literally takes the entire meteorological process of the water cycle and turns it into an absolute EDM banger.
And this slide right here perfectly illustrates the magic trick. On the left, you've got the official scientific term, collision coalescence. I mean, it's accurate, but it's a total mouthful. Now look at the right. The LabCore lyric is drop-by-drop process. It means the exact same thing. Water droplets bumping into each other and growing, but it's simple, it's rhythmic, and it's easy to picture. The science isn't watered down. It's just been translated into the language of music.
And the whole thing follows a pretty straightforward three-step process. Step 1, you start with the real science. You break a big concept down into its most important parts. Then, step 2 is all about translation. Those parts become simple, memorable lyrics, like, tiny droplets ice collide, up in clouds they multiply. That's a perfect description of how clouds form. And finally, step 3, you build a beat around those lyrics that actually matches the energy of the science, whether it's that slow build of condensation or the sudden, heavy drop of a rainstorm.
So let's zoom out for a minute. This is way more than just a couple of cool songs. This could actually represent a real shift in how we think about education and science communication, especially in a world that's just flooded with digital media.
And listen, this is probably the most important takeaway. This is not about dumbing down science, not at all. It's about being smarter with the packaging. It's about recognizing that the way we all consume information has fundamentally changed, and then adapting the delivery to fit our brains, making complex knowledge way more accessible without ever sacrificing accuracy.
I mean, the uses for this are just incredibly versatile. In a classroom, it's a 2-minute lesson opener that gets every student engaged and energized. Making an animated explainer video, it's the perfect soundtrack. On social media, it's the ideal format for bite-sized learning. Really, it's a powerful tool for anyone out there trying to make science stick.
At the end of the day, this is really what it's all about. LabCore is trying to be more than just a new playlist for you to check out. It's a philosophy of education, one that believes that when you combine scientific accuracy with genuine creative expression, you can build knowledge that really truly lasts.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. From the weirdness of quantum physics to the process of cellular mitosis, the possibilities here are, well, they're endless. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If you could turn any scientific concept into an absolute banger, what would it be? What complex idea do you think is ready to drop the bass?